As we inch closer to the 95th Annual Academy Awards, I thought it would be fun to do a ranking for some of the major categories. So in today's video, I'm going to start that series by ranking all of the lead acting performances from my number 10 down to my number 1. It will include everybody that's included for Best Actress and for Best Actor. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining me back in the garage. This is Gerald here with you. As we get into these rankings for my favorite performances that ended up being nominated for the Oscars this year, I just want to remind everybody, this is my personal preference. As we should all know, movies and art is subjective. So none of these are locked in definitive answers. They're just my personal ones that I think are the best, ranked from 10 to 1. And like I said, I'm going to include the female lead performances and the male lead performances. Okay, first up, starting us off at my number 10 is Bill Nye for his performance in Living. Nye gives a very touching and reflective performance as a straight-edged employee who has to face the hard truth that his life may soon end when he gets an unfortunate diagnosis from his doctor. Nye takes the news as an opportunity to finally live life to the fullest, and he absolutely slays this role. As I said in my intro, all 10 of these performances are Oscar worthy. However, due to my personal bias, Nye's ranks as my number 10. I've always had a hard time becoming fully committed to my viewings of British dramas. They're just harder for me to connect to, and I don't really know why. Nonetheless, Nye gives a stellar, quietly potent performance that is surely one of the most memorable ones of the year. Next up at my number 9 is Michelle Williams from The Fabelmans. Williams has always been one of my favorite actresses working today, and while The Fabelmans was all around lackluster for me as a film, I did think that the performances were out of this world, and along with Paul Dano, Michelle Williams is probably the standout for me. She gives a wonderfully conflicted performance. It did come across a bit melodramatic at times, but then again, so did this whole project for me. I am also a bit irked that she was campaigned in lead for this role when it could have easily fit into supporting. I fear that she may have distracted voters to her performance, which allowed others, such as Danielle Deadwyler and Viola Davis, to be snubbed. And for that, I may always be just a little bit bitter. Speaking of actresses getting snubbed, my number 8 is going to go to Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie. I made an entire video surrounding the controversy of Riseborough's nomination. I'll throw a tag up here at the top of the screen for you. Over here somewhere. However, I will say she gives a very grounded and relatable performance that is quite gut-wrenching at times and heartfelt at others. It is a well-rounded, transformative one that will have so many more people seeking it out now thanks to her nomination. And despite my still swirling reservations about the how of her nod, I do think that it is a good thing, as her performance should be seen by those that enjoy the craft of acting. My number 7 goes to another one of our Best Actor nominees, Paul Mescal for Aftersun. Talk about a riveting, heartfelt performance. This guy is going through something devastating that is challenging his mental health, but also his relationship with his young daughter who he is on vacation with. Director Charlotte Wells never really peels that curtain all the way back and leaves some ambiguity there as to the source of his struggles, even though the outcome is fairly certain. I loved how Mescal was able to capture the lighthearted fun of being a dad while also believably showing us how hard life can be. We've all felt it, and Mescal's careful, boyishly charming performance was among one of my favorites this year. Okay, hear me out. My number 6 is Ana de Armas from Blonde. Everybody calm down. This is the film that I've been vocal about since I saw it, and in case you haven't heard, I hated it. But de Armas as Marilyn is an absolute revelation here. She literally made me forget I was watching a depiction at times, and it was so authentic that I assumed it was footage of Marilyn Monroe herself. The screenplay and direction of this film are both so harmful to Marilyn's legacy, but also frankly the entire population of women in Hollywood, that it is truly unfathomable. However, I don't place any of the blame at de Armas's feet. And in fact, I applaud her efforts here, as I truly feel like she tried to do the best she could with what she had. The outcome is a beautiful and tortured portrayal of one of Hollywood's greatest legends. Okay, my number 5 would be Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Such a contemplative, torturous, and meaningful performance turned in here by Fraser. The problem is that the rest of the movie is literally just sitting there. While I enjoyed some of the supporting roles in the film as well, I just felt like without those powerhouse performances, of which Fraser's is the most impactful, what else is there? Director Darren Aronofsky loves a redemption story, but he has had others that were so much more fulfilling to me. But with that said, I think Fraser is probably the frontrunner to win Best Actor this year, definitely in the top 2. And his own Hollywood redemption story is truly a wonderful thing, and I love it for him. Despite my issues with the film overall, Fraser turns in a performance here that will not be forgotten anytime soon. And my number 4 is going to be Cate Blanchett for Tar. Blanchett is a towering figure in this movie, which matches her career best performance. Todd Field's movie takes such a bleak path to get to where we are going, but Blanchett is mesmerizing, mixing in bouts of sympathy along with bouts of toxicity that are fueled by Lydia Tarr's blurred lines between fame and success. Her character gets to many forks in the road, but always seems to challenge herself in an unforeseen way. And Blanchett brings all of those challenges to life with such vigor. While I am not as high on the movie as a lot of my colleagues were, I will not argue that Blanchett turned in easily one of the best performances of the year here. My number 3 is going to be Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin. Farrell is somewhat known for his bombastic, fearless roles. Hell, this year alone, he was so memorable as the Penguin in The Batman, not to mention his transformative turn in After Yang. But somehow he topped both of those with his performance here in Banshees. It is such a quiet, introspective, and often hilarious performance. Farrell takes such a simple man in his character and makes him layered, deeply flawed, and somewhat tragic. The film carries around this dark burden throughout its runtime, and Farrell delivers such a charismatic and lighthearted performance that he allows some levity to the proceedings. There are some tremendous supporting roles here as well, but for me, Farrell is our anchor keeping it all together. And dare I say, this is the best acting performance of his career. I also think that he is Fraser's only real competition on Oscars night. My number 2 is going to get me hate mail, so let me explain. It's Austin Butler's turn in Elvis. I'm a giant Elvis fan, I always have been. My grandparents and my parents had memorabilia and records all around the house when I was growing up. Elvis was something of a deity in our house, not to mention I love his music still today. So naturally, I was drawn to Baz Luhrmann's film. Much like I said with De Armas in respect to Marilyn, Butler becomes Elvis here. His movements, speech, and the musical performances were all like mirror images of the king himself. Butler also gives the most energetic and electric performance of the year, I would say. It is just infectious and unforgettable. I think that Butler did such a good job that he will gain Elvis Presley a new generation of fans thanks to this performance. Again, this one is very personal to me, but I love Butler's poignant and careful approach to such a gigantic icon in Elvis Presley. And finally, my number 1 performance of the lead acting categories this year is Michelle Yeoh from Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Yeoh essentially has to play like 5 or 6 different versions of herself and has to exist in 5 or 6 different settings throughout the movie. This movie boasts elements of sci-fi, action, comedy, drama, and romance. It bends genres much like it bends space-time in the movie, and without Yeoh's stellar once-in-a-lifetime performance here, it wouldn't work. From her time spent as a judgmental mother with strong traditional values, to her turn as a lesbian with hot dog fingers, Yeoh takes on each universe as if she's acting for the very last time. Her charming and transcendent performance is truly a sight to behold, and among the nominees, it was the best one I saw in 2022. Alright guys, so there you have it. Those were the 10 lead actress and lead actor nominees mixed together there to give you my top 10. What were your favorites? How would you rank these? Are my rankings way off? How mad at me are you about Austin Butler? Let me know down in the comments, and please don't come for me too hard. As I said, this is just my personal preference. Everybody has their favorites. Let me know what yours were down in the comments, and please subscribe to this channel. I'm going to do a whole series like this for supporting actor and actress as well. I'll probably do it for best movie. I might even throw some of the subcategories in there like best animated or documentary. I'm going to be doing all kinds of Oscar related videos leading up to the broadcast on March 12th. So subscribe and be there for it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you next time in the garage.